So now the ego has become my friend and my partner, works with me. It helps me see where I'm still looking at things. Like this whole last few months, it's been helping me. It's been going like, you know, this bothers you, doesn't it? And I go, yeah, it bothers me. And look, what is it that you're seeing here? And I go, well, my life has changed. That there's things dying that I have to let go of. Yeah, and you can't keep them alive, can you? And I go, no, I can't. And you not only that, you don't want to keep them alive, do you? I go, no, I don't. No, I'm right on target here. I'm doing fine. I just don't feel that way. Anyway, about thinking. I want to go into thinking. Because the way to deal with I hope I've given some insight with the ego. But thinking is really interesting too. Because the way to deal with thinking is very similar to that. Because thinking is about, it's not what you think that matters. It does not at all. You can think first of all, we're one with each other. We're all one. Every thought, we have access to every thought that's ever been thought by every part of us. Every single soul, that thought is in us. We know it. There's no new thoughts. They're all there. Some of them are, just mildly insane. Some of them are grossly insane. Some are a little bit less insane. Some are horrific. Some are what we would call psychopathic. Some are heavenly, we think. But they're all there. All those thoughts are there. And we think the ones that are correlated, the ones we reflect upon the most and use are the ones that are, and will actually have emotional charge with us, are the ones that somehow we've interfaced with our lives and have classified and kind of stuck down inside there. Those thoughts are the ones that keep rattling over and over in our heads, like the monkey mind that the Buddha calls about. They just keep going on and on and on and on and on. That noise just goes on and on and on and on. And so when you're talking about being present, that's why people think, well, you should stop thinking because then things will get quiet. My experience is that does not work. No, I've never been able to stop thinking. Even when I stopped thinking, I would be going, have I stopped thinking? Maybe I did stop thinking, but still my mind's going like, is this stopping thinking? Or wait a minute, you're thinking now about stopping thinking, aren't you? So maybe you never did stop thinking, did you? It's like that. It's a rabbit hole. The key to thinking, this is a short one, is it's not stopping your thinking. It's stopping your belief in your sense of what you think the thoughts mean. It's meaning. That's what matters, is meaning. You can have trillions of thoughts in your head, and if they don't have any meaning that captivates and not captivates, but drags you into focus upon that, or addictively, compulsively, you ruminate over, which is what really thinking is. We've got so much unconscious noise going on all the time. We think that we're thinking quite deliberately and stuff like that. And it reminds me of like a friend of mine where he said he was, what did he say? He says, I was in my head thinking, and then I realized I was behind enemy lines. Kind of like that. It's not the enemy, but having meaning. For me, back in, probably about the time, even before I went through that part with the dealing with depression, this is 20 years ago, I'd been reading Byron Katie's books, like Loving What Is and things like that, and the process she described, which is not her process, but it's her version of it. It's a creative process. And I started working with that, and it started originally working where I didn't know what I was doing, but out of just following how she had talked about her healing, I came up with this thing, reading her going, okay, and so that every time I had a thought that I could recognize, especially that had input and then like was pressing across my mind. I would think this. I would actually question. I'd pose a question, and that question was, do I know that this means what I think it means? And each time I'd have to ask that, I'd have to look at it very clearly, not just like flip it off, but just basically, do I honestly, am I certain that I know that this means what I think it means? And every time I look more inquiry at it, I go, well, actually, I don't know. I'm not certain that it means what I think it means. So, but I found the more and more I did that, every thought that was coming up, whether it was good, bad, boring, I started to use that more and more and more. I'd be going like, do I know that this means what I think it means? And each time I'd ask that question, I'd go, no, I don't. So eventually it became kind of an affirmation where as I was going along, I'd go, I don't know that this means what I think it means. I don't know that this means what I think it means. I don't know that this means what I think it means, no matter what it was, whether it's the IRS sent me a letter, or I got something in the mail that kind of hinted at getting some money back to me, or a friend coming back to see me. I don't know what it means. I don't know that it means what I think it means. And then eventually it became an operating system, which was already in me. It was really kind of just cleared the pipes so that I could follow this operating system that was like, I don't know that, whenever anything came up, I'd be saying, I just assuming that I did not know that it meant what I thought it meant. And I really started liking that, because I started finding out that the more and more I did that, the less and less I was attached to the thought, the less and less I even considered the thought. I was more like wait and see. That kind of came with a whole realization that said to me, can I manipulate and prepare for the future? Like protect myself in the future? And the whole concept of should disappearing, like you should do that. And I went, no, I can't do that. I have no faith in me to do that at all. It's like talking to my ego. I can't do the things my ego says that I couldn't do. The things that my ego was telling me I had needed to do to be safe, to be okay. I couldn't do them. If it was a bus coming at me, I jumped out of the way because the bus was coming at me. But I couldn't consider not crossing what I needed to do to protect myself from buses. No, I couldn't do that. What I realized was that I could meet circumstance, though, especially with my faith the way it was now, growing into that I was living in a friendly universe and not a hostile one, that no matter what was going on, I could meet circumstance. And I realized that my whole life, I had never once failed at meeting circumstance. The circumstance may have been different, and the results and things may have changed. And sometimes they seemed immensely better. Sometimes they were boringly the same. Sometimes they appeared to be worse, but then I would be back at the same place going like, do I know that this means what I think it means? And it would change. It would always change. And I found that I could meet circumstance, and I actually did meet circumstance successfully all my life. So I could rely on that. I could rely on that. So with thinking, that's what, and that started bringing me more and more into the present moment, because when I'm not thinking about something, or like ruminating, reflecting upon it, considering options, worrying about it, wondering and scheming and setting goals and dreaming, creating vision and stuff, when I'm not doing any of that, because I can't, okay, the more and more I don't, not only can, I don't want to. Why would I? My visions are so cheap compared to what the universe can offer. The ones the universe offer are fully, they connect with the universe. The ones I have are just so petty compared, and not only that, I don't have any juice for them. I don't have any faith in being able to fulfill them, because they are so small and so limited. I don't have any faith in that or juice that I could even do anything about it. But the thinking part. I realized. I'm losing the thought here for a second. When I didn't have meaning, that's it. When I'm not doing that with my mind, I'm present. I'm present. There's no noise in my head. And what I realize is that the thoughts are still there. They're going by like clouds. There could be thousands and trillions of clouds that are floating by, but they're just beautiful clouds because they don't have meaning anymore. I'm not focused on the meaning. And that's how the mind stills. The mind stills when you start releasing the meaning of thoughts, which you can do. Even when I worked with my ego at first, with some hard things, I'm doing counseling and stuff with people. I remember I worked with this one fellow, and I started giving him some suggestions on asking some questions that were different from the situation that his ego was telling him was happening. His ego was telling him if he didn't do something, oh boy, that's hard. Well, I've gone on long enough here. I'm going to quit on this one too, because I think I'm going to go into that story too, because that story is actually a good story for me to pass on. It's a very good story. It's because it taught me a lot about the ego and how to work with the ego and how not to work with the ego and what can happen when you do work with the ego in a way that opens things. And it's very simple. So I'll talk that one in the next video, and then probably, I don't know, maybe I'll quit for a little bit because I've been going for a while here. It's all the same day. Okay.